Your audience should be buying from you. And if that's not happening, I'm going to be showing you a few quick tactics in order to activate your currently existing audience into purchasing more of your stuff, even if you have a small audience. Because the truth is, the way we are currently going about social media is no longer working when it comes to empowering your audience to investing into their problems. And unfortunately, the way you are most likely creating content now is actually repelling people. And honestly, this comes from a place where it has happened to me as well. I was stuck doing these traditional methods, painstakingly spending all my creative juices researching content, providing the most value I possibly could to my audience, all in order for them to hopefully see me as the top dog in the space, to then eventually end up investing money into it. And I thought what I was doing would lead me to this info money. But the result is I grew an account with 80,000 followers, and for the amount of followers I had, not nearly as many people were buying. And it really wasn't until I noticed a few clients of mine who had very small followings, right around 2,000 to 10,000 followers, were pulling in 10 to 40K every single month. People like Jamil, who has almost 2,000 followers, is making 20K to 40K a month. And even one of my clients, Tucker, who has almost 300 followers, just made $30,000 in 45 days. They had 1/10 the audience size that I had. And this is when I ended up diving deep into the psychology of sales. Why were people buying from them? And I found a few tactics. With that, I went to test those tactics out for myself. I made another account, only got roughly 300 followers on it, and made $11,000 in 30 days. So that's exactly what I'm gonna be sharing with you today. If you can stick to the end, I'm gonna give you the secret sauce that's gonna allow you to trigger your audience to buy. And this is completely going to change the way that you go about YouTube videos, reels, story posts, ads, VSLs. It's gonna change your content forever. Real quick though, if you believe that you're somebody who can change lives, whether it's their business, their health, their body, their mindset, or whatever that you're coaching on, I'm giving away my $8,000 program completely for free inside my Skool community. I'm gonna be releasing it at the end of November. And yes, this is my program that people would pay me $8,000 to $12,000 for. I'm giving away completely for free, no questions asked. And I invested over $50,000 to learn what's inside that program right there. Here's the thing, if you're not inside my free Skool community by the end of November, you're not gonna be able to access my $8,000 program. It's for the action takers who can literally just take 2 seconds to scroll 2 inches and click that link below to join the free Skool community. Okay, let's get into the video. So number one, the emotional buyer. The first thing I want to break is this idea of nurturing content. We all have been sold on this idea that we need to nurture, show the person more and more videos, give them more and more value until they end up fully trusting us and then wanting to buy. You can literally be doing these things, but then you come to find out the prospect that you've been DMing back and forth for months and providing them lead magnets, YouTube videos, all that type of stuff, they end up going with a competitor. Why does that happen? Ultimately, it comes down to buyer psychology here, where there's 2 types of buyers. Number 1 is the emotional buyer. Number 2 is the logical buyer. So the logical buyer, this is typically somebody who comes into your funnel and doesn't convert right away or comes into your ecosystem. This person is very logical about their decisions when it comes to purchasing, meaning they're dotting all their I's. They're making sure the value's there. This makes sense. They do trust you. And they're waiting for that perfect moment to buy. And we know in reality, there's no perfect moment to buy. And they use logic to justify that. The second type of buyer, or really the first one, is the emotional buyer. The emotional buyer is the one, you might have had this happen to you before. But this is the person who is very emotional. They're thinking in terms of emotions. Think of it like a second language. They're very emotional about their current situation. And they're basically fed up with it. And they end up coming through your funnel, hopping on the sales call, and just closing with like ease. It was like freaking butter. That person was very emotional about their state. And at the end of the day, nobody really buys on logic. Even the logical buyer ends up becoming emotional. You have to get people in an emotional state in order to buy. This is how humans, for the most part, make decisions. So to kind of put this in another way, like if your house was on fire here, you're not standing in your room thinking about all the logical things that you need to do in order to get out of the house. You're not analyzing, oh, what's the closest exit? What's the stuff that I need to grab? What's, the safest way out of here? Where's the fire? Like, you're not analyzing things like that in a logical sense. You become very emotional because there's fire in your face. There's that fear, that adrenaline that's pumping, and you act quickly, not on the best decision for the most part. The best decision could have been jumping out the window, but you ran downstairs to go out the door because you're in an emotional state. So to tie this all together, the truth about nurturing content, you just showed up long enough in order for the logical prospect to eventually become emotional about their current situation. Nothing that you necessarily did caused them to be emotional. It's that they most likely got very fed up. Sure, they might have trusted you over a period of time, but for the most part, they got very fed up. You just happened to be there. They became emotional, and then they decided that they needed help. So to trigger buyers much faster, trigger number one here is to use language that makes them emotional. This is a little tactic that you can end up throwing into your content. When you use this emotional language, it might have happened to you. Every once in a while, it happens to me when I watch a good VSL or something like that, where this feeling of emotions comes over you when you're watching a video sales letter, somebody trying to sell you. And it's because they spoke the right words. They used emotional-based language that put you, the viewer, in an emotional state. And that's exactly what we need to do in order to trigger buyers. So if you're nurturing, and nobody is coming through your funnels and booking calls and paying for your stuff, it's because you're very logical in a lot of your content. You keep the prospect in a logical state. So a little example of this, if I was gonna create something for myself here, the logical side could be build emotional language that increases your sales. The emotional version of what I just said could be turn ice cold leads into obsessed buyers who feel like your offer was made exactly for them. So that little bit of emotional language using the word obsessed begins to it actually might spark an emotion within you. So that is trigger number one, use emotional language. Okay, so number two here, question. What is the number one skill that you as a creator need to have in order to make more money from social media? It's not hooks. It's not being consistent. It's not, being good at DMing people. It's not having good systems. It's really about using a strategy here that Netflix has been using for a while that allows them to get a ton of people to sign up and watch movies. It's your ability to activate people towards the next step. I don't know if that's an actual skill, but it should be one. I call this conversion content. This is what activates, your viewers to take action, whether it's getting a lead magnet or just even following you or going down your funnel, giving you their phone number, whatever it is, you have to have the ability to take them to the next step so you can gradually move the attention that you're getting over into booking calls and selling. Otherwise, without this, you just have an audience of window shoppers. You become the free option, not the paid option. So if you want to create this internal urgency where somebody feels like they must get the thing that you're talking about, it's all about using open loops. So what is an open loop? I kind of did it to you in the beginning of the section when I said, what's the number one skill you must have as a coach or creator? And I didn't end up telling you the answer right away. I led you on. So open loop is keeping the story open. We're asking a question that goes unanswered for a bit of time. You essentially do not want to close on the loop. For example, if I was making a lead magnet, right, I wouldn't want to tell everybody exactly what the lead magnet's about. I would want to list out the benefits and come up with a cool name for it. Be like, this lead magnet here is helping people convert 40K a month and new deals with a very small audience. And it's conversion content. When you have conversion content, it doesn't create window shoppers. If you want this lead magnet comment this word, right? I'll do something like that on Instagram in order to drive traffic to the next step. Notice I didn't tell you how conversion content works. I didn't say the actual step-by-step how to. The moment you do that and give away all the sauce is the moment that people don't want it anymore. So you have to keep that loop open. And really, really good coaches, really good funnel builders, they keep that loop open throughout the whole entire funnel until you get to the last stage where you're watching the VSL or you're hopping on a sales call, and then that loop closes. And Netflix uses this all the time with movie trailers. They keep that loop open and creating curiosity and not closing on it until you click and watch the movie. So if you want more leads, if you want more people to go down your funnel, end up booking a call, master opening loops and conversion content. Okay, number 3 here is belief shifting. So content isn't about teaching. The more you teach, actually, the less you begin to sell. And I like to say the value of value right now is 100% on the decline. Go to ChatGPT, ask it any problem that you have, and it's pretty good at giving you a step-by-step plan on how to solve that problem. So you can easily see how $5,000 informational products is now being reduced down to a $25 subscription. Eventually everything is. So right now you need a new type of value. The 2016 to 2024 playbook here was giving away how-tos. This is how you do this, and it would open people's mind because they couldn't access that information that easily. Now today, we literally have billionaires, yes, billionaires, giving away the how-to secret sauce on social media. I mean, try out competing Hormozy when it comes to value content. He's mastered that space. He's ran that playbook so much. People are kind of over it. Like I said, 2014, 2016, that was the heyday of making money on info because all you had to do was use that type of value. How-tos. This is how you do this. Right? But now, going into 2026, it's different. It's something that ChatGPT can't provide. It's a different type of value. It's going to be a different type of IG reel you make, a different type of YouTube video, a different type of program, a whole new type of value. And that's perspective value. Changing perspectives, or what I like to call belief shifting, is going to be huge because everything, I believe, at the moment comes down to your limiting beliefs, how you think about yourself, the beliefs that you tell yourself that are holding you back. And if you can shift somebody's belief, that's a whole new value for them that actually gets them to take action. For example, I could teach you how to fish. Step 1, you want to put the worm on the hook. Step 2, you want to cast it out. Step 3, hopefully you get a fish after like 5 hours, right? Or I could give you a perspective shift here and tell you that, hey, you've been fishing in the wrong pond all along. The one that you're in doesn't have any fish in it. This one over here has fish. You see the difference there? That's a different type of value. It's very eye-opening. It's belief shifting. Because all this person here on the left who knows the step-by-step, all they know is actually how to fish. But they didn't know they were in the wrong pond. And the second thing here too is when you end up shifting somebody's beliefs, like this person who's in the first pond here, if you shift his belief like, hey, this is the reason why you're fishing at the wrong pond, they end up taking action. Because when you shift somebody's beliefs, it drives action. And the real sauce here is if you end up shifting limiting beliefs that your prospects have when it comes to investing in your program using your method, this is when they start taking action. It's like crazy scenario here, but let's say I'm going to sell rocks to some people and I say, hey, these rocks are going to make you a millionaire. Okay, and I could have the best offer. I could say, hey, if you give me $8,000, I'm going to give you this load of rocks here. And if it doesn't make you a millionaire in 30 days, I'm going to double that money and give you $2 million back. That could be the best offer in the world. But nobody's going to pay you that $8,000, no matter how well your offer is, if they don't believe that the rocks can actually make them money. So you have to get them to believe first. And that's the sauce. So shifting the beliefs into you, your offer, you being a leader, shifting their limiting beliefs into why they're not investing, Go and do that right now within your content, and you'll see a huge difference. Okay, number 4, developing quick trust. Trust is not developed by more info. It's not even fully developed by shelling out testimonials. Everybody has testimonials today. I mean, like, we are so numb. If you're in the make money online space, we are just so numb to the amount of people who are claiming to help this person do 100K a month, or even this guy who is making $30 million a year in his business, who's making content. He doesn't even get that many views. It's because we are so numb to this idea of like the transformation, and so many people are achieving it. Even if you're in the B2C space, the fitness space, like, everybody has testimonials, right? So this no longer develops quick trust because the market is just numb to it. So if you want to develop split second trust, I mean like 0.5 seconds, then it's really about understanding the person's current situation. What most people do in their ads, their content, and really what any kind of copy they're writing is they talk about the pains. The problem with that is anybody can really talk about the pains of your ideal client. Like, really, I know the exact pains of a fitness, prospect, but I've never had a fitness course. Like, they just don't like looking at themselves in the mirror. Like, it's a huge pain of theirs. Anybody can say that. But what develops trust more than anything is speaking to the current situation, right? For example, here, there's this guy standing in the rain, it's thundering. I can say, man, this guy's cold, drenched, and exhausted. Very obvious, right? But if I started saying the words that this guy wants and the situation that he wants to get in, right? I can say, you're trying to find shelter, and every gust of wind sends a wave of rain down your back. And the moment I say something like that, this guy's gonna be like, holy crap, this guy knows the exact situation I'm in. He must have experienced it before. I gotta trust him because he knows the way out. And the more that you get precise of what the person's trying to do, how they're currently operating, how they're trying to get unstuck, the methods, the strategies, the tactics, the ideas that they're trying, the more they're going to trust you. Because honestly, it proves expertise through understanding rather than explanation. So like I said, in today's market, on how saturated it is with testimonials, giving away value that anybody can find on ChatGPT, it's imperative that you understand to the T every footstep that your prospect is taking in order to get out of their current situation. And when you speak those words, split trust is developed. So start speaking to the situation, not to the pains. Okay, quick recap in order to trigger your audience to buy today, like go out and do this right now, is number 1, don't put your prospect in a logical state. Start using emotional language in order to get them to move and buy. People buy off of emotions. They won't buy off of logic. Number 2, use the Netflix strategy. Open loops, don't close them. If you're giving away a lead magnet, open the loop. If you are moving people to a VSL, open the loop. Keep the loop open in the VSL until they get on the call. Number 3 is you got to shift beliefs. It's a new type of value. It's the difference between the how-tos and a perspective shift. The moment you shift somebody's perspective, they're gonna begin to take action. And lastly, if you want to develop that split-second trust, you got to speak to the situation, not the current pains. Anybody can say the pains. It all boils down to the exact 3 things, but speaking to the current situation is much, much, much better for developing trust. With that, I'll see you in the next video. If you haven't already, go ahead and click the link in the description. I'm giving away my $8,000 program completely for free by the end of November. So you got to join right now, because if you don't, you're not going to get it. It's for the action takers. With that, see you in the next one.